This is a trade recap for Tuesday, March 31st, 2026. End of the month. Continuing with one and done as usual. Currently on, this was number 4 of 10 for phase 3. Another green day. Decent, again, pretty straightforward trades this morning. Some, again, minor oddities, had decent sized gap up. So again, whenever you get those more volatile moves, sometimes you got to adjust things and be a little cautious in terms of volatility and, again, how the market might react. But all in all, it's a pretty straightforward day. Nothing super unusual. At least in the trade sense, had some other members say that Qs, we only trade SPY and Qs if you're new here. Qs, the options premium was a little weird. It was either lagging on the broker's side or it was just sticky. There was a few people that complained. So there was something odd there. But again, sometimes that's just things that happen. You can't really do much about that other than recognize it and then decide whether or not you want to execute. There's also some bad fills, even Pat, our coach and mentor, like he got when he executed, and he's usually pretty spot on and precise with his entries. He got a pretty horrible fill on his 4 Qs. So that's interesting that, again, something was definitely weird going on there. I just traded SPY. Didn't have that issue. Premium was moving really, really good. In fact, I would say substantially more so than it normally does. But yeah, so we'll get in that. So if you are new or struggling with this and you need a coach or mentor, and I do highly recommend one if you are new or struggling, Pat Mitchell. He's the one you want to be learning from. He's been doing this for over a decade. He runs a service called Trick Trades. You can find it over at tricktrades.com. And it's one of those things where, again, the information more or less speaks for itself. I would just say explore the site, read it over. I mean, he's, like I said, been doing this for over a decade now with tremendous success, more so than just about anyone out there that I could name, especially with the number of like grifters and wannabes on YouTube and Twitter and whatnot. So if you're looking for the real deal, he is it. So with that being said, if you need some more information or want more information kind of on him, the service and whatnot, like I said, check out the page. And then if you want kind of a more direct example, I would say check out his YouTube page. He has over 1,700 videos on there. He does daily recaps, lessons, and things like that. So if you want sampling of that kind of the quality information that he puts out, that's where you can find that one. And we'll go ahead and get into this morning's trades. Let's pull this up. All right. I did move the camera, so if it looks like I'm not looking at the camera, that is why. So if you are new here, the way this is all set up, like I said before, we only trade SPY and Qs. So up here, this is SPY. Down here, this is Qs. Now, these left-hand charts are our daily charts. So 1 candle equals 1 day. This middle part here, this is our intraday 1 minute chart. So 1 candle equals 1 minute. And then I keep my order execution here on the right. That way, again, I just have it all one screen. Very easy for me to change things around and whatnot. Now, this is one of the advantages of having a coach and mentor. Pat will start picking out levels for us to trade the night before and then really refine and tune things the morning of, usually about half an hour before the market goes live. So one of the advantages of that is that you have someone who knows exactly what they're doing, picking out the levels you should be looking at and should be trading versus trying to pick out your own. Because that's one of those things where if you don't do that right and pick the right levels, well, your trade plan's kind of dead out the gate. So that is a huge advantage there. So as you'll see, that's what these blue levels are. Once these levels are placed, they do not move. Again, they're static. They don't change for any reason whatsoever. Now, yesterday I did miss mark one, and that is on me. That's not on Pat. That is 100% my fault. I need to double check my stuff. So that's exactly what I did this morning to make sure I had the right levels. Then you'll see these risk levels, these red dashed lines. That's what I'm risking off of. Pat does not, again, put those levels on there. I do that myself just because that's what I prefer. Everyone's got their own preferences, and that's just a minor one that is mine. So this is about 10 seconds before the open. So as you can see, this is where we closed down here on SPY and Qs, and we gapped up pretty decent amount. So we're kind of in between these wider levels on SPY. Qs not so much. So again, go ahead and hit play. You can kind of just let it roll. This one was actually fairly quick in terms of how the trade played out. I only got in with a singular contract because I started in as we were approaching the level, holding the rest for the level itself on SPY. It just didn't give it, and it gave a very nice, solid first reaction. And what I made off that one contract was almost double what I typically get on a per contract basis. So it's one of those things where it's like, something to take note of there. The premium again, was very, very fluid on SPY versus on Qs. It was not for whatever reason. So kind of coming up, getting close to that level. And did take it a minute to kind of get up there, but again, that's one of those things where with the size of this gap up, you got the 5 right above that level, in between that level and risk. And because of kind of where this is reacting and starting a little bit early, again, you don't want to put your full position, your full starter position in off the hop, potentially, especially if you're starting early off the level. You actually want to kind of use a small kind of portion to start in early, then you save the rest of the starter position for the level itself. Again, it's kind of a good structured way. That way your average isn't, again, skewed against you, especially if this thing wants to come up and test the level, play a little bit above it, but within kind of that risk tolerance range. So entered there with that one, like I said. Got within about 50 cents, 60 cents-ish. So again, just kind of get zoomed in a little bit more because, again, just a little bit easier to watch it. Kind of just seeing what we're doing, how we're reacting. And all in all, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, looks like might be something going on. Just gotta be patient with it. Again, everyone thinks 1 minute charts or 1 minute candles is like, oh my God, things happen so fast. They really don't. It's one of those things like stare at here's an exercise Pat tells us to do. Go stare at yourself in the mirror in the bathroom for 60 seconds. And you tell me if that's a long time. It's gonna feel like a long time. So I've done that exercise. So just a little food for thought. So tested the level-ish. Qs test it more proper. But then we start, again, reacting. And that's what we're looking for. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay. And the opening price of pre-market, the opening price. And again, it's kind of where good place to, again, pay on that reaction. And while it doesn't look like a whole lot of movement, it actually is. Because you got to think like, to grab, again, I made $39 on this one. It was just one contract, so it's $39 per contract. And as you can see, like I didn't even top ticket. So that premium was ripping because that one candle right there from where we basically topped out to all the way down where it is right now. Take a screenshot real quick. That was a point on the equity. So that moved that premium really, really nice. So go ahead and just kind of step forward just so you can see how this plays out. Granted, that was my, again, with that kind of move, it's like, okay, I'm done. Like, I'm just done. I'm just going to take that to the bank. As a small account builder, that's, again, what you want. So just step it up. Again, you can see, like, again, kind of just how it, again, get a little bit more zoomed in so you can see the kind of how the price action evolves. You can see it just kind of just plays with that range a little bit. Qs kind of makes your way up, but it's like it doesn't really, like, it's not doing so with authority. Which is interesting. So it's like, again, comes up into the level itself while Qs is just still playing around with that high, doesn't really break over it. SPY's like, okay, no, it's at the level, kind of comes through it, into this, kind of goes, again, into something, and then goes sideways, consolidates, and then it kind of just pulls back. Looking for, again, actual support, which is really interesting. So let's see here. Gammon. So that's the entries. right there. Again, nothing really magical about this one. One in, one out for damn near $40 on that contract, which is solid. It really is. It may not seem like much, but it is. So pretty straightforward. Wasn't expecting the premium to kind of move like that, but no, I'll take it. Again, that's not something anyone can control for, so take advantage of it when it's handed to you, basically. Other than that, trying to think what else. Emotions were good. Discipline was good. Traded to the plan, to the strategy. Yeah, so all good on that front. And since it is the end of the month, let's pull this one up too. So to kind of give you guys kind of an indication of like, again, what is this? So this is my account growth chart. These boxes right here, this represents February here and March right here. Again, had a couple little hiccups there. Again, right at the transition of the months in terms of a loss. Then had a smaller loss here in March, but again, still, again, this is where, again, noticing, again, really refining entries. Make sure you squeeze, again, the most out of your average as you're building positions, as well as actually building a position appropriately. When do you start? When do you add an average? Again, and the right, again, size when adding and averaging for the conditions in terms of the market, the level, the confidence, and the probability of it working. But all in all, yeah, good. Again, it's one of those things, pretty much a nice, almost 45-degree angle growth there over the past 2 months. So very happy with that. And just going to continue on with it. Again, this was number 4 of 10 for phase 3. So again, almost halfway there with this one. And then we'll be moving on to the next. And it's one of those things where if this continues, I mean, it won't be long before, again, it's one of those things where as you scale this out, and again, I understand that it seems like really, really odd with such small wins on some of these, but it's one of the things, like, these are the moves you need to make to establish, again, build up your experience on things, and then really build up the knowledge, again, experience, knowledge base, and skill, and then iterate and refine those things so that you're just better and better and better at them. Especially, again, things like emotional discipline and things like that, because that is where most traders probably have the biggest struggle. Has nothing to do, and again, Pat was pointing this out probably over the past couple of days, especially this morning. It's like, it has the mechanics behind trading is very, very simple. That's not what's probably screwing up the vast majority of traders. It's the mental, emotional side of all of it. And they just don't want to put in the work to correct that. And some probably don't even necessarily put those couple puzzle pieces together. That is what needs to happen. And if you are one of those people, well, this is why having a coach and a mentor would be like, hey, you're trading in terms of like the mechanics of it. You know all that. That's not where the issue lies. The issue lies somewhere up here, just like it does with all of us. And again, sometimes we're a little bit more stubborn. I know I'm a little bit more stubborn. So it takes a while for that to sink in. But ultimately, when it does sink in, it's like, okay, that's what actually moves the needle. Like, again, getting kind of coming up and having this chop in these areas, like I've explained before, towards the end of these choppy areas, it's like one of those things where it's like, it gets very, very frustrating. And I knew I was getting frustrated. So that's, again, emotion, and not good emotion. So again, it's one thing. You need to keep your emotions under control. You need to keep them in the right range. Too much bad emotion, obviously a bad thing. Too much, quote unquote, good emotion can also be a bad thing. You kind of want that very level flow state. I'm trying to think of how to vocalize that to really move the needle on this stuff. Again, to be very consistent. Again, it's a little robotic, but again, not totally robotic. We're human beings. We'll always have emotional components to whatever it is we do. So it's one of those things where you need to take that into account. If you don't, then you'll probably have some success, but you'll have just as much, if not more, failure. And then instead of having an account chart that kind of looks like mine, where it's just this kind of just grinding away at an angle. Again, some chop in there where there were issues. Yours will probably look more like just go and again, it's just up, down, up, up, down. There's no like rhyme or reason to it. So again, if it's one of those things, especially if you're tracking your trades, if you're not tracking your trades and it's doing that, it's like, yeah, okay, what are you doing? Like, you need to start putting some metrics behind things so you can start diagnosing your issues and figuring your stuff out. And if you want help with that, a coach and mentor is what you need. So again, Pat Mitchell, he's the one you want. Go over to tricktrades.com, look it over. If you want to sign up for a membership, give it a shot for a month. You'll find a discount link down in the description below. Hopefully we'll see you there. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. All good. Other than that, that's all I really have. So I will catch everyone for the next one tomorrow. Have a good one.